Today we're going to be looking at a problem that involves proportional reasoning. This question uses ratios, rates, and shows a directly proportional relationship. We're going to solve this problem using algebraic reasoning. So let's look at the question. The question says that Adriana works at a veterinarian's office. She needs to give a dose of medicine to a 22-kilogram dog. The recommended dosage for a dog that weighs 12 kilograms is 30 milliliters. Determine the dosage Adriana should give to the 22-kilogram dog if the rate remains the same. Show your work. Well, let's look at what the question tells us. The question tells us that the rate remains the same. This is important information. Can you figure out what the rate is? Well, first, let's think about what are the two quantities that are being compared. Well, we're looking at milliliters and kilograms. And we know that if we have a 12-kilogram dog, we need to give that dog 30 milliliters of medicine. Can you use this information to find out how many milliliters you need for a 1-kilogram dog? Well, what did I do to change this number from 12 to 1? 12 divided by 12 is 1. So what do you think we need to do to 30 milliliters? Well, to determine how many milliliters I need for a 1-kilogram dog, I'm also going to divide this side by 12. So what's 30 divided by 12? 2.5. So that means that for a 1-kilogram dog, we would need 2.5 milliliters. So the rate is 2.5 milliliters for every 1-kilogram dog. We're going to use algebra to solve this problem. So we need to come up with variables to represent our two quantities, to represent the relationship that we're comparing here. So let's choose x to represent the weight of the dog and y to represent the amount of medicine needed. Now we need to come up with an equation using these two variables. Well, let's think about it. What is the amount that we need to calculate? We need to find out how much medicine is needed. So we need to figure out what y is equal to. Well, how would you figure out how much medicine you needed if you knew the weight of the dog? Well, since we know that the rate is 2.5 milliliters for every 1 kilogram, if we increase the amount of kilograms, we're going to multiply 2.5 times the weight of the dog, so 2.5x. Does this equation make sense to you? Well, think about it. To find the amount of medicine needed, we would take 2.5 and multiply it by the number of kilograms that the dog weighs. Well, let's use this equation to answer the question. Remember, y represents the amount of medicine needed in milliliters, and x represents the weight of the dog. Which variable can you replace? Do you know the amount of milliliters, or do you know the weight of the dog? Think about what your unknown is, and think about what you know. Well, what we don't know is how many milliliters, because we're trying to find the dosage. What we do know is the weight of the dog. The dog weighs 22 kilograms, so I'm going to replace x with the number 22. Therefore, y is equal to 2.5 multiplied by 22, since x represents the weight. Now we just need to simplify. You can do this on your calculator. 2.5 times 22 is equal to 55. That means that y is equal to 55. Now, since y represented the amount of medicine needed, we can conclude that, therefore, 55 milliliters of medicine is needed for this 22-kilogram dog. Think about how important this equation is. Now that you have an equation, can you figure out how much medicine a 17-kilogram dog would need, or an 8-kilogram dog? Do you think you could find the dosage of medicine for any size dog? This equation makes it a lot easier for Adriana to work at the pet store. Now remember, this was just one way of solving this problem. Can you think of other ways you could have solved the same question? Check out our playlist to see different methods for this very same question.